Well, here we are today at Apple Valley Airport. Wonder what they have here.
I don't know.
Today is February 6th, 1994. This was supposed to be on Thursday. It's supposed to be Jason's 18th birthday, but we had to postpone it till today, so we're going to go in here and see what's going to happen today. Well, here we are at the Wings Cafe at Apple Valley Airport. What might happen today? We're kind of at an airport, so it must have something to do with something.
Yeah, maybe some flying happening today. Hopefully.
Well,
So I can steal my breakfast.
well, maybe you better not eat so much, huh? Well, today you're going to fly an airplane.
I'm going to fly an airplane?
You are going to fly the airplane.
Can you believe that?
Okay. Go out here.
Hot day out here.
Yeah, pretty nice day though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm ready to fly.
All right.
Well, we gotta check this, and this, because if we miss anything, we don't, that's bad news. You miss something, there might be something. Yeah. So we'll check it all out, and we'll do that, and we'll run the checklist, and we'll get the engine started, and taxi, and do some radio work, and just everything. This is lesson number 1, so we start right at the beginning. And what we'll do is we'll actually do the takeoff. You and I will do the first takeoff together. And what we'll do is we'll climb out of the traffic pattern, and we'll go out, just out over the area somewhere, maybe out over the desert, maybe we'll look out over town a little bit. Basically what we're going to wind up doing is giving you the opportunity to get the feel of the airplane. See how it looks from inside the airplane and what your attitudes look like, and we'll do some turns and climbs, descents, and just general flying type things we're going to do today. And then what we'll do is we'll come back in and we'll enter the pattern, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and there's certain procedures for flying the pattern that we'll follow. So we'll do that today. And we'll talk to the normal landing. So, the first couple of lessons, it just gives you a chance to get used to it. Nothing really heavy the first time out. So
It's going up.
yeah, getting the feel of it, that's a lot of what flying is, there's a lot of technical stuff to it, but a lot of it is just getting to know the airplane, getting to know what it feels like. That's why landings, in the landings, that's one of the more important things that people concentrate on, because that's what everybody wants to do. They think, well, yeah, anybody can take off, anybody can fly around in circles.
Want to get up there.
But now I got to put it down on the ground,
Yeah.
And that's the thing that they're really concerned with. So we'll do that. And here's the keys to the old airplane. We'll head on out. Use spatula real quick. All right. Very good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That was the plan. And sometimes the plans don't go as you want them to, though.
people don't think pre-flight is that important. They obviously look at it real quick and check the oil and they're ready to go. And they don't take as much time, or they're not serious about it like they should be. But it's one of the most important things you can do. Because if something's getting ready to go wrong, it would be nice if you kind of got a little jump on it. Fuel strainer. Okay, the way you normally begin your pre-flight is to start right here inside the cockpit. Make sure that everything looks the way it should. Sometimes flight controls or the control wheel right here will be locked down with the seat belt, so if it is locked down, you want to go ahead and release the seat. You can also turn the master switch on, which is this red switch here. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll show you after we get in there. It's a red switch. Turn that on, it controls the power that you need to start the airplane, and also controls electrical power in the airplane for all the equipment and stuff. So we're looking at our fuel gauges to see what they're indicating right now. And they're good, so we'll go ahead and turn that off. And then I'll put the flaps down. There's a little lever. We pull that down, and the flaps come down. So now we can take a look at those. Now normally, there's an operating handbook for every airplane has its own handbook. And it's just like a little book that tells you, well, you got to do this, 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 and this. It's a checklist, same thing. Now normally, you'd have a checklist out and you'd be looking at it saying, well, I need to, that way you don't miss anything. But after you do a few of them, it's pretty simple. Okay, so we'll start out right here on this side. We'll work our way around the airplane so that when we're finished, we'll be right back here where we started. And this is where the pilot sits in the left seat. So you'll be sitting in this seat, and I'll be sitting in the other seat. Okay, as far as the pre-flight, we'll start right here at the flap. And if you look at these hinges here, you'll see that there's little nuts and bolts to hold these hinges on. So you want to make sure those are all on. And you have little pins right there in the center of the hinge. So that little pin is so you want to look at that and check to make sure it's secure. This is the push rod for the flap right here, making sure it's secure. And the flap itself is secure. If you were to do this number and just kind of wobble around the hinges to lose you, yeah, you don't want to do that. So you got another hinge here, got one there, one here, and one here, and you're looking at them do the same thing. This is called the flap. We use these during landing. It increases lift and drag, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, anyway, this flight control here is called the aileron. Okay, and what happens is you'll notice that aileron on the same flight control on that wing. If I push this one up, what's that one over there doing? Going down. And then with this one down, that one's going up, so they move in opposite direction. Yeah. So in flight, that's what makes the airplane bank and turn in flight. So these are important flight control devices. They're all important, but this is one that's important for the banking and turning. You got 3 hinges on this as well. You've got one here, one here, one here. And you're just looking at the screws to make sure they're all secure. And it also has hinge pins. If you look right here, you can see that's the hinge pin right there. Okay, so you check that. And if you're better off getting down here and looking up from the bottom, because under the bottom you can see the same kind of hinge as you did on the top of the flap there, nuts and bolts, and the pins. So you can always take a look at them and make sure that they look good, because it's kind of hard to see everything from up here because it's covered up. And also, too, if you look inside the flight station there, if we pull this aileron up, see what the wheel does? It points towards up. That's the way it should be to make sure that the airplane's rigged properly. So always check movement with your control wheel and also the flight control. Something else too you'd look for, if you went to move this aileron up, and say you moved it up to there, and you looked at the control wheel, and the control wheel didn't move until you were like halfway through moving the flight control, and you've got something loose in there too, so you have to look at that. They should move basically at the same rate. Okay, then you come out here to the wingtip, so you've got complete control of the airplane, that's right. Come out here to the wingtip, check these screws, make sure that they're good to go and all that, and they're really important. A lot of people don't look at these screws, but some airplanes it's required that the wingtips and certain things be removed on the airplane during maintenance inspections. And, so the mechanics are taking some of this stuff off and putting it back on, so always check your screws. And take a look to make sure they're there, because they may have put some on the top and got busy and missed some or something. Yeah, forgot to put them all out. That wouldn't be no good. So always take a look at this stuff. Chances are that'll never happen, because mechanics have to be very careful, but things can always happen. These are your lights right here, called navigation lights. You've got a red one on this wingtip, green one on that wingtip, and a white one on the tail. And it's just like a boat. Boats have lights, starboard, bow, and all that stuff, so at night you can tell, well, which way are they going? Well, the airplane's the same way. So if you were flying along at night and you looked up and you saw a red light moving from right to left, well, you could assume that you had an airplane converging from that side. You were to his left side because you see his red light. See, so it just tells you where the airplane's at. So it's important. This light here is an anti-collision light or a strobe light, and that's just for, makes you easier to see. You've seen a strobe light before? Okay, check the leading edge of the wing and make sure everything looks good. These are called stall strips. Make sure they're installed properly. That controls the airplane and helps it maintain stability during a stall by causing the wing to stall at different rates, you might say. But we get into aerodynamics and stuff, we'll talk about that. And down here, this is called the pitot tube. This little tube right here, which doesn't have the cover on it, which it should have right now, but what happens is in the airplane, we've got a little indicator called airspeed indicator. It tells us how fast we're going. And the air, which the airspeed indicator relies upon to operate, the air comes from right here. It goes right in the hole. There's a little tube that runs up to the instrument panel. And as the air goes in there, it makes the needle move. Faster or the impact air pressure goes through that hole. Tells you how fast you're going. So it's important to make sure that there's no little animals or anything. Bugs. Sometimes little bugs crawl in there and build holes and stuff. So you can look at that and make sure that it's not plugged up. And I mentioned stall a minute ago. This here is called stall wing indicator. And what happens is basically what a stall is when you get to a nose high attitude. At a certain point, your wing doesn't have smooth airflow over the upper surface, and you get what's called a stall. Well, what this does is when the airplane gets to a certain point, the airflow contacts this and moves it up. It's like a little electric switch. So when we're sitting in the airplane, it starts beeping at us saying, hey, you get ready to stall. So it's kind of like a little warning thing. All it is. Yeah, that air pushes it up and you hear the horn go off. This will happen before the stall actually occurs, so this is kind of just like a warning device. Okay, and then we always check our fuel tank visually to make sure we have fuel. I just fueled this one, so I know it's good. Plus I can see I've got approximately half tank of fuel down there. Notice how it's blue? Yeah. That's every different octanes of aviation fuel are different colors. They put dye in them so you know you got the right gas. This one uses 100 low lead fuel, or uses 100, 130, but you put 100 low lead in it. Fuel's blue. Down here, we have a fuel drain where we get some fuel out of here and we take it in a sample cup. And we can look at the fuel and we can see if there's any water, any dirt, any sediment, or anything in there that might mess our engine up. So you always want to look at that. Plus you see the color, it's light blue, so we know we got the right fuel. So if you took that out and it was like pinkish, reddish color, that'd be 80 octane. And it was a little, we can't use 80 octane, we're supposed to use 100 in this. So we have to be careful about that. Also, while we're down here, we can look at the wheel, the tire, the wheel assembly, and all that good stuff to make sure it looks good. This is our brake assembly right here, the landing gear strut. Our brake line runs through the back here to the housing on this side. The main thing you're looking at is just condition. This isn't busted or anything, no big cuts, nicks, or anything in the tire. Everything looks good. And if there was a leak in the brake fluid or something, you'd probably see a puddle on the ground. So if you see that, you might want to get it fixed. Your brakes might go out on you. So you can check that. Okay. And this is, the EPA doesn't like this. Fuel on the ground. But, technically, I saw a guy one time that used to do that. He said, well, I don't like pouring my fuel on the ground, and his fuel strainer was just like filthy every time he used it. So what he'd do is he'd take the cap off of his fuel tank, and when he filled it up, he'd just pour it back in the tank. Well, what he was doing is he was just putting dirt back in the tank. And after a period of time, you know, it just didn't work out too well. Okay, anyway, we look at the engine compartment here and make sure that everything's good to go. You can see the engine looks like a Volkswagen engine, basically. Except it's not. This is a Lycoming type engine. It has 2 spark plugs per cylinder, dual ignition system for safety. You've got what's called a magneto on this side, one on the other side. That, you notice the little spark plug wires come off. There's one for each one. It's spark plug 2 per cylinder, And each spark plug is wired off a different magneto. So if your one ignition system starts to quit, you've got a backup system. So it's safe. It won't crash. That's right. The engine won't quit. And plus it makes the engine run better if you've got 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So that's why you do that. But you just want to kind of take a look in here and make sure that there's no broken wires. You can see everything. The fuel pump, the ignition system, the oil pump is in this area here. This is called the vacuum pump for air for some of our instruments. There's a lot of things you can look at. You don't really have to be a mechanic to fly an airplane. You can just kind of look at the general condition. Cracks or anything. And also in the rudder here you have some cables. This is the cable that actually moves the flight control. Make sure the cables are installed. They've got little pins in the nuts and bolts here called cotter pins. You want to make sure those little pins are in, because if those pins came out, that nut could work its way loose and then gone, pop off. Okay. Well, this flight control is not quite as important as the rest of it. Huh? No, yeah, this is important one. Aileron's important. This flight control is mainly here to maintain what's called coordination during turns and stuff. Or if you're in a crosswind landing situation, this is very important. But like I say, still you want to set all your hinges and everything, and also look at your tail up there so you can see this. See that hinge right there, nut and bolt, and the control device is right there in the center. You've got one there, yep, and you've got another one right here. Same thing, if you look up in here, you can see that control. See that, or the nut and bolt there. So you check those, let's make sure we get the ones on the other side. There you go. Good job. What I normally do is I'll take my seat belts, I'll put them outside the door so they're out of the way a little bit. Oh, there goes the sheriff. Starting that thing. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll get up here, I'll put one foot in the seat. People don't like to do that, but it's procedure. Make sure the seat's all the way back, put one foot in the seat, and then put the other foot in the floor, and then I can kind of just be like this. Yeah, so that way you don't get anything banging. Lever in front of the seat, a little metal lever. Pull up on that and you can slide yourself forward. Hold up on it while you slide. More. Good. Reach right up. Alright. spikes on the back of the seatbelt there. See that? Cinch it down. It doesn't have to be super tight, but at least it's tight enough that it'll do us some good if we need it. Okay. Lock him up.
Survived.
Well,
That was great.
He survived.
Yeah.
so what'd you think?
I thought it was bad.
Well, happy 18th birthday again.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. That was great. A little high. Never been that high before, but I made it. I'm here on one piece. I didn't kill myself.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Never had that experience before.
Well, maybe you'll end up a
Pilot.
fighter pilot. Huh?
Yeah.
That's right. Captain for American Airlines.
That's right. Flying 747s. By then, so you fly the plane?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you do? You keep it from,
Yeah.
keep it straight?
I think so. I had to look for the ride.
It's kind of hard, isn't it?
It's going like.
Yeah. I mean, not only do you have to keep it, you have to keep it from going up and down, and right and left. It takes a little practice.
Yeah.
There's so much air pockets when you hit them.
Is it bumps?
Yeah, probably, that sounds about right.
Amazing, the sky has bumps in it, isn't it?
I know.
They should fix that sky.
Yeah.
Alright, well, this is good, I gotta fly out of here. Get over there and do that. You need to fly some more now.
Yeah.
Good experience. Yeah. I have to do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Another 10 hours. Get out of here. Just go up. Fly by myself.
Yeah, what they do is when you solo, they rip the shirt off
Yeah,
your back and right on it. There's some up on the wall right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We're doing cross-country planning again, as a matter of fact, I'll bring.
I've got a shirt hanging up in Fullerton, California somewhere, on a wall down there. If it's still there. That's when you solo.
By yourself.
Yeah. So that's after 10, 12
Well, I
hours.
skipped some of the subject stuff,
When the
back to where you were.
instructor gets out and you fly the plane by yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't all so hard. There's a couple
All right,
switches
man,
here and
very
there,
good.
but.
Okay, that's $5.50. And normal ops. Put your name, this is your logbook. So put your name and your, well, you may not want to put your address in there, because if you lose it, somebody loses your address. You should put your name and you put a phone number or something. That way, if you ever lose it, then, you know, somebody might be nice to call you and say, hey, I got your logbook. That way, that's your first lesson right there. That's the kind of airplane it is, that's the number of the airplane, date, we were Apple Valley to Apple Valley. Lesson number 1, we did climbs, turns, and descents, and normal operations. Okay. So you got all that in there, and that's your flying time. Cool. Right there. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think so.
There you go. Cool. Good deal.
I had a great time.
It's fun. Nothing like it.
Nothing like it. I'll do it again.